Job, chapter 1. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. You still reach for it. Muscle memory. A hand extending into the quiet, fully expecting the familiar weight, fingers closing around empty air. The coat is still hanging by the door. The indentation is still heavy on the rug. The shape of the absence is so loud you can barely breathe around it. It is a violent thing to lose what you love. But there is a specific, agonizing confusion when the thief is the father. You didn't steal it. You didn't force it into existence. God placed it directly into your open palms. He authored it. He called it good. So you loved it. Without apology, without hesitation, you rested your entire weight against it. And then, without a warning, and no explanation that could survive the weight of the question, the very same hand reached down and removed it. Leaving you standing here in the middle of the room, staring at your own two hands, holding absolutely nothing. We like the end of the story. We cling to the last page, the restitution, the quiet, sanitized resolution where the math finally adds up again. But Job did not have the end of the story. When he spoke those words, he was sitting in the dirt, head shaved, scraping his own skin with a broken piece of pottery, surrounded by the fresh, incalculable ruin of everything he cherished. He had not read chapter 42. There was no promise in the room to break his fall. The scandal of this story is not the suffering. Loss is a common currency. It eventually comes for every house. The scandal is the sound that came out of his mouth in the ashes. A sound that had absolutely no logical right to exist in that space. Praise. It costs you nothing to sing when the table is full. When the sun is out, gratitude is just a reflex. But to look at a violently overturned table, to stare at the empty chair, to feel the unbearable, physical weight of the silence where a voice used to be, and offer a hallelujah to the exact same God who just took it away. That is the most profoundly irrational act a human being can ever perform. It defies every instinct in your blood. It breaks all human logic. And you are not meant to soften it. You are not meant to force it to make sense. Because that specific, terrifying irrationality is precisely what makes it holy. Gratitude is a reflex when your hands are full. It feels like devotion, but mostly it is just commerce, a transaction. We offer our songs as a polite tip to the Maker for services rendered. As long as the table is heavy, the praise comes easy. But when the table is flipped, when everything you leaned against is quietly carried out the front door, look at the space left behind. The pale rectangles on the drywall where the frames used to hang. The scuff marks on the hardwood. The absolute terrifying quiet of an emptied house. You expect to fall straight through the floor because the things holding you up are gone. But look down. The floorboards are still taking your weight. Gravity still holds. The foundation did not dissolve simply because the gifts were removed. When the decorations are stripped away, you hit the architecture, and you find what was always there underneath it all. Not a sudden rush of peace, not a silver lining, just him, standing in the ruins with you, not apologizing for the empty room, fully sufficient in the dark. He's still here. Do not try to dress up the grief for him today. If you cannot find the breath for a melody, don't. If the hallelujah is pulled through clenched teeth, let it be rough. If it sounds exactly like weeping, let it. He's completely fluent in the dialect of grief. An empty hand is still an altar.
I traced the outline on the rug today, where the weight of it used to press into the wood. You gave it to me, and I loved it without asking any questions. I leaned my whole life against it, and the air shifted in the room, and you quietly asked for it back. No thunder, no warning, just the slow, devastating sound of the maker taking his gift away. So my hands are resting palms upon my knees, not because I feel holy, not for a hallelujah. I just don't have anything left to grip. Fingers finally uncurled on me. They say the Lord gives and He takes it away. I don't have the breath to finish the verse out loud. My chest is entirely hollow, but the floor is still holding my weight. The house didn't collapse. You took the one thing I begged you to leave, and yet you are still sitting in the ashes with me. It is still dark out. I am holding absolutely nothing, and I am still